welcome to That Was Abuse, where I talk about moments from my 10-year-long abusive marriage while getting ready for my life today. Most of these moments won't sound extreme. They're just the kind that are deeply embarrassing. Episode 11, toilet paper. So my ex regulated how much toilet paper I could use. He didn't stand outside the bathroom and hand me squares as I went in, but he did track how much we bought, and whenever we were going through it quicker than he thought we should, I got yelled at. A couple of times he even had me demonstrate my average toilet paper usage in front of him so he could critique my folding technique. I can't believe I'm making an episode on this, because it sounds crazy, it sounds ridiculous to say out loud, but it didn't feel ridiculous when I was in it. It felt normal. And listen, if I got back from the bathroom on our very first date to an interrogation about how much toilet paper I'd just used, I probably wouldn't have gone out with him again. But that's not how it starts. It starts with a lighthearted comment a couple of months into dating that he always seems to go through more toilet paper when I'm visiting. And then when I move in, he makes a joke that he made sure to stock up just for me. A couple of those a month, every single month. And slowly, the jokes become sharper, and they start to feel like they're at your expense. They stop being jokes and turn into complaints, which turns into criticism, which turns into evidence of a problem that you have caused and he is going to solve. And that's how you find yourself standing in your bathroom, terrified and wrapping toilet paper around your hand in front of your apocalyptically angry husband. But he's not just doing it with toilet paper. He's doing it with the way you eat, the way you speak, the way you dress, who your friends are, what your hobbies are, and all these little things that are designed to wear down your self-esteem and make you dependent on him for validation and approval. So anyway, it took me 10 years of toilet paper regulation to leave, but that was abuse. Episode 12, Scrabble. My ex found some very creative ways to put me down. For example, we used to play a lot of Scrabble. There was an app, and he was phenomenal at it. I was not. I'm really more of a numbers person, but I played anyway because it made him happy, and honestly because losing to him twice a day helped keep him in a good mood. One morning, he played the word politer. He then smirked at me across the table and said, "I'm politer than you." I laughed it off and said, "Oh yeah, think so?" He did not laugh back. Instead, he said, "I actually think you're not polite at all." And then he turned breakfast into a lecture about my lack of manners. I didn't say anything back, just waited for it to be over. And it wasn't even a fight. He sent me a heart emoji on the way to work, and I let it go. But this is what I mean when I say that abuse isn't always in the blow-ups or violence or throwing things. It's in these little digs that you learn to swallow again and again and again, all day, every day, just to keep the peace. That's the part that slowly breaks you. And it took me another 5 years to leave, but that was abuse. Episode 13, the keyed car. One time someone keyed my car, and now I think it was my ex. But let me explain. One time we were driving separately after work and meeting my parents and grandma for dinner at their house. I arrived first. When my ex arrived, he didn't greet anyone but walked in and loudly announced, "Someone keyed your car." The room was quiet and I said, "Oh, that's not good." He snapped back, "No, Ruth, it's not. Seriously, come outside and look at this." Didn't want to, but I also didn't want to make him any angrier, so I grabbed my shoes and I followed him outside. Sure enough, there was a long scratch along my passenger door. As I was looking at it, he said, "People don't just do this unless you provoked it. So what did you do?" First of all, how am I supposed to know that? But second of all, keying someone's car is a pretty shitty thing to do, regardless of what I might have done to provoke it. I said that to him. He did not react well. He started getting loud, swearing and waving his arms. I looked back at the house and saw my grandma watching out the living room window. I wondered how many other neighbors could be watching. As I stood there, on the street I grew up on, feeling embarrassed, and cornered, and ashamed. The next day at work, I told a friend about the scratch, and that I didn't know what I'd done to provoke it. They gave me a weird look and said that keying a car is wrong no matter what you might have done, in case you need to know how quickly abuse changes your brain. Looking back, I don't think my ex found the scratch. I think he did it. Maybe he was angry that I got there before him, or maybe he had a bad day at work and just wanted the excuse to yell at me. Reasons unknown. It took me another 4 years to leave, but that was abuse. Episode 14, the Renaissance Festival. One time my ex left me crying in public, without a way back to our hotel, and wearing a hoop skirt. We used to go to the Renaissance Festival every year. One night at a group dinner, I told him I'd had enough to drink, and he kept pressuring me to drink more. This resulted in me asking, "Do you even really love me with how you treat me?" He walked out and left me crying and snotting on myself in front of friends and strangers. Not to mention humiliated when our friends then had to take me back to the hotel. My ex was already gone when I got there, packed up his stuff and started on the 2-hour drive home. Also sent me half a dozen texts implying that he was going to unalive himself. I was shaking, still crying, terrified, a little drunk, and reading accident reports all night. The next morning, I did what I always did. Apologized, groveled, took the blame. He let me. When I got him on the phone, he asked, "Why would you say those terrible things to me?" And I felt lower than dirt. No room for my hurt. or my fear, or my voice. He came back, and we still went to the festival that day. I hosted a meetup in my full costume while silently dying inside. I used to be alarmingly good at disassociation. If someone ever threatens to hurt themselves, to control or punish you, that is never going to be a healthy relationship. And it took me another 5 years to leave, but that was abuse. Episode 15. One time Siri got me into trouble. We were lying in bed one night. My ex was trying to sleep and I was lying next to him reading. All of a sudden, my phone made the "Hey Siri" noise. I hadn't touched it. Hadn't done anything to activate it, but my ex sighed loudly. I apologized. A couple of minutes later, my phone makes the ending Siri noise. And that was all it took for him to snap. He yells, "Jesus Christ," rips the phone out of my hand to check the volume, which was already off because I'm a millennial and I haven't taken my phone off silent since about 2009. I told him it was probably a glitch. We both knew my phone had been acting weird, but he just gave me that look. The "you are so unbelievably stupid" look, and said the phone just magically made that noise on its own. Give me a break. Then he threw it back at me, rolled over, and went to sleep. I laid there, heart pounding, trying not to move, afraid to pick up my phone again in case it made another unexpected noise that would get me into even worse trouble. This is how they train you to walk on eggshells. And it took me another 6 years to leave. But that was abuse.